In the final days of this campaign, Donald Trump has been a gaffe machine, saying the craziest and most unhinged statements of his campaign when he can even get a sentence out. Of course, we saw him attack Liz Cheney the other night, but it hasn't just been about his political opponents. Donald Trump's fear-mongering has gotten more out of control than ever, and we saw that in a racist attack he made that everyone missed that I want to get into in this video. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really means the world to me. Now, before we get into what Donald Trump just said, a gross racist attack, I want to see a little bit of positive news, and that comes in the form of a big endorsement for Kamala Harris from Harrison Ford.
Look, I've been voting for 64 years. Never really wanted to talk about it very much, but when dozens of former members of the Trump administration are sounding alarms, saying, for God's sake, don't do this again, you have to pay attention. They're telling us something important. These aren't soft people. They're governors, generals, standing up against the leader of the party they spent their lives advocating for. For many of them, this will be the first time they've ever voted for someone who doesn't have an R next to their name, because they know this really matters. The truth is this: Kamala Harris will protect your right to disagree with her about policies or ideas, and then, as we have done for centuries, we'll debate them, we'll work on them together, and we'll move forward. The other guy, he demands unquestioning loyalty, says he wants revenge. I'm Harrison Ford. I've got one vote, same as anyone else, and I'm going to use it to move forward. I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris.
Donald Trump's own former administration officials are coming out against him because of the threat that he poses to our democracy, because of the threat he poses to our fundamental freedoms and our civil liberties. Even Republicans know will be voting at a higher rate for Kamala Harris than they have for any other Democratic candidate ever, I believe, in this election. And it's because of the threat that Donald Trump poses and the threat that he continues to make. Of course, we saw just the other day him threaten Liz Cheney's life. And of course, Republicans have been doing everything they possibly can to sane wash that comment and try to make excuses for Donald Trump. So before we get into the disgusting attack he made, I want to see a Democrat shut down that defense of Donald Trump's attack on Liz Cheney on Fox in this clip right here.
How damaging is it, though, that in the final 72-hour stretch, you guys are out there, hauling, around the states, trying to get people to sign up to still vote for Kamala Harris, and she's not even able to really amplify the messaging that you guys are supposed to be focusing on this week because of all of this sort of dumb stuff that key surrogates are saying?
Well, look, if this comes down to gaffe for gaffe, and if it comes down to closing yard, I feel really good. What I've seen so far on the ground here in Pennsylvania, what people have seen in the last week is Donald Trump having a rally in Madison Square Garden where he knew he had to know who was coming. He had to know the historical significance. But you know what? Let's fast forward to the other night. He said that Liz Cheney should be shot with 8 rifles.
Well, he didn't exactly say that, but I understand this is the
on.
argument you guys are making.
Come on. This morning, I don't even know how to describe on family-friendly TV what he did. Now, the vice president's closing argument is simple. She wants to fight for all of America. She wants to keep us going, and she wants to fix, including the border. The border numbers have gotten better. And look, I'll concede the border is a mess. The border is a problem that has gone on for too long. The border has been a problem that they inherited from Donald Trump, and Donald Trump inherited from Barack Obama, et cetera, and so forth. It is a difficult problem that needs to be worked on much harder.
Why are you guys, Philippe, why are you guys clinging so feverishly right now to Liz Cheney's endorsement? Obviously, the daughter of a man you guys call a war criminal, served a couple of terms in Congress. Why do you guys care so much?
Well, I think the better question, Jillian, is why exactly are we talking about Liz Cheney so much if she's insignificant? And I think the Trump campaign is doing
Right.
that
No,
because
that's
they
what I'm
realize,
asking. You guys are
well,
spending all this time on her.
no, but I wonder why the Trump campaign is pushing back so hard. I think the reason they're doing that is because Liz Cheney is not in isolation. We have a series of people who've worked for Donald Trump, and the people who were closest to Donald Trump during his election, during his campaign, are not supporting him. And I'll forget about Liz Cheney for a moment. Where is Mike Pence? Mike Pence ran against Donald Trump. Mike Pence does not think Donald Trump should be president. That is remarkable. Could you imagine if a Democratic president was running for election and their vice president wasn't there for him? The world would come to a stop. The reason that Liz Cheney is relevant, and John Kelly and John Bolton and 700 people, 700 Republicans who've worked under Republican administrations, including the Trump administration, is because there is an appeal.
Republicans are really doing everything they possibly can to try to defend Donald Trump, to try to cover his ass, to try to cover up for these disgusting and ridiculous things he continues to say. And like I said, we are seeing more of them as Donald Trump becomes more unhinged and out of control in his speeches. In the final days of this campaign, he is feeling the pressure because he isn't running for president. He's running to stay out of prison. And so he's lashing out and becoming more unhinged. And like I said, becoming increasingly more disgusting in his fear-mongering. And when he was in Wisconsin last night, he decided to say something about NBA superstar and former MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, who plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, that was so racist, you just have to check it out.
The same crowd as you have here, right? Same thing. Your NBA arena, your team is very good. I would say the Greek is a seriously good player. Do you agree? And tell me, who has more Greek in him, the Greek or me? I think we have about the same, right? So
Giannis Antetokounmpo is an incredible basketball player. Like I said, MVP, plays for the Milwaukee Bucks, and his nickname is the Greek Freak. That is why Giannis was referred to by Trump as the Greek, because I guess he didn't know the full extent of his nickname. But Trump was saying that Giannis wasn't as Greek as he is, that they're equally Greek, or that Giannis isn't Greek enough. Why is that? It's because Giannis is black. And that's why Donald Trump thinks he's not Greek. This is how Donald Trump views Americans as well. If they're not white, like we saw Donald Trump yesterday praising his beautiful white skin, he doesn't think they're Americans. And he thinks Giannis, because he's black, isn't Greek. It is racist. It is gross. He is saying the quiet part out loud. This is the garbage that is constantly spewed from Donald Trump and the rest of MAGA, just like we saw with that disgusting joke about Puerto Rico. It is garbage. It is racist. It is vile. This is what we continue to see all the time from these people. This is what it is. And that's why Kamala Harris is calling it out in this clip right here.
And Donald Trump's not done. Did anybody hear what he had to say just yesterday? And I'll tell you, it was outrageous. So he said on the issue of freedom of choice, reproductive freedom, he said that he will do what he wants because, quote, this is his perspective. He will do it whether the women like it or not. Whether the women like it or not. Can you imagine? And this is not the first time he has told us. He does not believe women should have authority or agency over their own bodies. This is the same person who said that women should be punished for their choices. And what we know is we know what we are seeing. This is someone who simply does not respect the freedom of women or the intelligence of women to make decisions about their own lives. And we know that what he has planned includes a national abortion ban, restricting access to birth control, putting IVF treatments at risk, and forcing states to monitor women's pregnancies. You don't have to take my word for it. Google Project 2025.
Kamala Harris will be a president for all Americans. She will not seek to divide us. She is trying to unify us, bring us together. She is not letting Donald Trump's attacks, anger, and fear-mongering dictate our lives. She wants to move forward. And speaking of that fear-mongering, of course, Donald Trump says he will be a protector of women, whether they like it or not. But Tim Walz pointed out a little bit of a flaw in that argument from Donald Trump, and a great clip right here.
Now Donald is concerned that he's not getting the women vote right now. He says he doesn't understand why he's not getting women, because he told you he would be your protector. Spoken by a guy who nearly bit it trying to get in a garbage truck. Open the door, Donald, open the door. So look, it is more serious than that.
First of all, Donald, women don't think you can be their protector. They certainly don't want you to be their protector, but you're not going to be if you can barely open a garbage truck door. I love that clip so much. One of my favorite from the campaign, Donald Trump's cognitive and physical decline. And what was so great is Sean Hannity just kept playing it on Fox. I don't think he realized how bad it looked for Donald Trump as he continues to melt down. And we saw more of that melting down in a speech that Donald Trump gave today, when you can just see how much he is losing it right here.
Insane asylums, and then I say, Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Does anybody know? They go crazy. They say, oh, he brings up these names out of, well, that's genius, right? Dr. Hannibal Lecter. There's nobody worse than him. Silence of the Lambs. Who the hell else would even remember that? I have a great memory. But they always hit me. I don't bring it up too much because I have to take such a... He brought up Hannibal Lecter. What does that have to do with this? What is it? It has everything to do with it, right? That's who we're allowing into our country. And we don't want to allow that into our country. So I've done something for you that I haven't done in 20 speeches. I brought up Dr. Hannibal Lecter. And
the late, great Hannibal Lecter is back, folks. And he's certainly not better than ever. As Donald Trump makes his closing argument with Hannibal Lecter, really? This is what you're saying to finish off the campaign? This just shows how poorly this campaign is run and how out of control Donald Trump is, and why we need to continue to make the argument of how ridiculous Republicans are for supporting this guy. And that is not just at the top of the ticket, but as we go down to the most important House and Senate races. And before we close this video, I wanted to talk about one of those. Independent Dan Osborne is running in one of the most important races in this country in Nebraska, running against Republican Deb Fischer, who is just a completely corrupt individual and, of course, a MAGA Republican. This race could determine if Republicans have control of the Senate. And so if you can, and if you are able, and if you want to, support for Dan Osborne would go a long way. So if you want to, like I said, you can drop a little bit of a donation to Dan Osborne. I'm going to have a link at the top of the comment section in this video and in the description for you to support his campaign. It goes a long way and would really mean a lot. And if you want to support our channel, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.